Okay, now we need to touch on probably the most important topic of the VFR course. You should feel that the previous lessons on procedures was almost suspiciously easy. This is because we only covered that aspect. The part that anything a VFR is doing is requiring a clearance. But as our understanding increases about VFR, you must also understand that information is key. So now we go to the next important part, providing the required information. The fact that the service you provide is an air traffic control service is why you tell them what to do. The stuff we covered in the last chapter, but it's also traffic information service, and this must be deeply respected. Think logically. The pilot will do what you tell him to do, but he cannot see what you see. He has no idea of anything except what he sees out of his window. No TCAS to warn him of other airplanes approaching him, no radar scope to have a nice clear overview, no nothing, just windows. Once you give him the instruction for something, no matter if it's during departure or arrival, then you need to guide him through that instruction by providing him with the information he needs to complete that instruction. Traffic information is not something you give just to tick a box. It is the way the VFR pilot gets to complete his instructions without endangering his or others' safety. Let's start with a few examples. Most of the time, this information is concerning other traffic. It could be anything. Smoke overhead the city, tornado approaching. But it's mainly other traffic we're talking about here. Because it is so difficult to see other traffic from a pilot's perspective, he's really relying on you to inform him of relevant traffic. I mean, would it be easy to see other airplanes from this view? I think not. Most commonly, it happens in 3 different stages that we will now go through, but know that you have to translate it into other stages as well. With this fundamental sentence in mind, guide the pilot through your airspace by information services. Remember this treasure map we talked about earlier. Now, the stages we're going to look at are doing approach, during departure, and in the control zone, the airspace not immediately surrounding the airport. Let's start with doing approach, because that is often the most tricky part. So you instructed Oscar Yankee Papa Yankee to enter the control zone right to go 1,500 feet below for right base runway 22 left. That was the instruction we gave. Now the real difficult part begins. Which other airplanes may be approaching as well that he needs to know about? Maybe he's all alone. If he was, then it would be easy, because then there is no information to give. But let's say that he's not. Normally, other traffic would be something like an IFR flight on final or other VFR traffic in the pattern. Now, how is the pilot supposed to know how to interact with these airplanes? You need to inform him about which airplanes he will need to follow, which airplanes he will be behind. In this case, we will determine that he will be behind the 737 coming there. He's coming pretty fast. But he will definitely be ahead of this Piper there in the pattern, because he's pretty far away. So you can state to him, Oscar Yankee Power Papa Yankee, number 2, behind a 737 on 3-mile final. Look at that. Suddenly our pilot knows how to relate to the traffic around him. That 737 is one to look out for and to turn behind. And all of the traffic is basically of no concern to him. He goes behind the 737, he comes in for landing, and everybody is happy. But just don't make the crucial mistake here of thinking, like many students does, that Papa Yankee here is all that matters. No, you need to provide information to everybody. That means telling the guy who's clearly behind Papa Yankee as well, Oscar Yankee Juliet Bravo, number 3 behind a Cessna 172 on right base. Now he knows what to look for. And wait a second, it doesn't even stop there, because look at this table again. Under IFR and separation ensured between, what does it say there? That's right, nothing. They are not separated from VFR planes either. It just says traffic information on VFR. Aha! So that means that any IFR traffic interacting with VFR needs the exact same traffic information. So in this case, we continue. Ryanair 61 Papa Golf traffic information is a Cessna 172 on right base who will turn behind you. It's a lot of work. And if you take on this amount of work, then you have to make sure that you can handle it. Remember, everybody needs traffic information about traffic that concerns them. And of course, it's important to think logically on what traffic information is valid. Not giving traffic information because you don't have the time is just not an excuse. The 737 was important information for Papa Yankee because he needs to know the way to go behind. But Juliet Bravo here is not important because he will be behind Papa Yankee anyway. Papa Yankee was important information from Juliet Bravo because he needs to fly behind him and know where to look. But the 737 was not important because they will not have anything to do with each other anyway. And Papa Yankee is important information for the Ryanair because, I mean, when you see such a guy so close on your TCAS, isn't it a little bit nice to know that he will not just turn into your path but actually go behind you? Yeah, it is. Every time the sequence changes, then you have to provide up-to-date information. Now, if Papa Yankee and Juliet Bravo just keeps doing touch and goes and patterns, you don't have to tell them all the time. They know. Papa Yankee is ahead of Juliet Bravo. But now, suddenly Oscar Yankee Tango Alpha Foxtrot is entering the pattern. And now you need to decide who he needs to be behind. In this case, we determine he should probably be in between. So then you have to say, Oscar Yankee Tango Alpha Foxtrot, you're behind Cessna 172 on left base. Now he knows. And now Juliet Bravo is behind a new plane, so you have to inform Oscar Yankee Juliet Bravo, you are now behind the Cessna 172 or whatever on the right downwind. You can freely choose on how to build up a sequence. That's your right as a controller. Before we move on, let's talk about structure. How do you provide traffic information? We split it up in sections. Section 1, number. 2, 3, whatever, behind. Whatever. Or you say traffic information if it's outside the circuit. In section 2, inform of the aircraft type. A320, Piper 28, Cessna 182. Section 3, inform where it is. But don't do it as this 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock kind of stuff, because it changes and it makes it difficult for the pilot to know where to look. And it's difficult for you to, which one is 9 o'clock now? No. You say 10 o'clock, and the pilot looks to his 10 o'clock, and he can't find it, and now suddenly, actually, he's at 7 o'clock, and he has no idea. This clock thingy is difficult. That's more IFR stuff. Instead, reference it to something static, something that doesn't move, so the pilot has a general awareness of where physically the airplane is. For our approach phase and landing pattern, the obvious choice is to specify where in the circuit the aircraft is. Then our pilot knows where to look generally. Number 2, behind the Cessna 172 on right base. That's the proper way. Now let's move to the departure phase. Traffic information here is normally a bit less critical, as there are not that many scenarios where traffic intervenes with each other. Normally, I would say it's nice to tell an IFR departure if a VFR has departed before, so that the IFR flight at least knows where the VFR is going. Mention the direction the VFR will turn. That's the important part. The IFR then has a mental picture of where the VFR is going, because remember, there's no separation. Another case, which is quite common, is on 22 right, 22 left in Copenhagen, or 04 left, 04 right for that matter. Often there is a VFR doing touch and goes on 22 left, while an IFR is departing on 22 right. That's a good time to give information to keep everyone up to date. KLM 1 X-ray traffic information is a Cessna 172 departing from 22 left. Oscar Yankee Bravo Lima Zulu traffic is a 737 departing from runway 22 right. Good, now they know. Third would be away from the airport, and here it will almost always be a specific scenario. VFR and VFR passing each other. In which case you just tell them that there will be another airplane. Tell them where it comes from, tell them where he's going. Oscar Yankee Papa Yankee traffic information is a Piper 34 entering from Vallensbæk going northeastbound. Oscar Yankee Bravo Lima Zulu traffic information is a Piper 28 leaving the control zone via Vallensbæk. We gave the pilots a general direction to have a clear mental picture of the flight path of the one they need to look for. We told them where they came from, and we told them where they're going. This is the scope of traffic information. It is difficult. It demands practice, studying, and focus. It is the most vital part of VFR and one of the skills you have to master before you can get a checkout. So keep practicing this. Remember, information is key. Let's continue. Thanks for watching.